Hello everyone, welcome back to the Alpha Futures YouTube channel. We are here today with market expert Planty and Ben, the boss of Alpha Futures. And we're getting some updates on how things have been going over the start of the year and plans for the future. So without further ado, just have a bit of a chat. Ben, Alpha Futures is taking off in a parabolic trajectory, as predicted. How's it been so far this year? Obviously, starting off sort of, I guess, new to the futures market as the newcomers, but really making a name for yourselves. How's it been going?
No, it's been nice even to see on Twitter and socials lately. We went from being, this new firm, which people knew they had a backing, right? Alpha Capital Group's been around since 2021, so they're like new to futures, but a lot of people were labeling us like they're a good new firm if you want to try them out. Now it's kind of shifted to people who are like, nope, established. I'm definitely a trader at Alpha Futures. Other people should be trying them. It's kind of nice to see the new firm kind of taken away now,
Exactly.
which we've definitely seen in Q1 so far, though. I mean, last month alone, over 170% growth month over month. And then Q1 altogether, We're at almost 600% growth from Q4. So this year has really, really taken off. I don't know if it maybe traders wanting to jump back in beginning of the trading year or what.
Yeah.
But it's been great. Q1 has been explosive to say the least.
That's incredible. I mean, I think we were talking about this earlier, that you're sort of in a unique position where you're sort of a new company, but obviously established off the back of Alpha Capital, who've established such an amazing reputation. It puts you in quite a good position that people, as soon as they understand that the technology is in place, everything's working properly, they know that you've got the backing and everything should be working fine. And I think you had quite a short teething period, really, like where everything's suddenly just taken off, which is an amazing thing.
It was about 6 months of like teething period, like you're saying, that we were doing fine. It was very fortunate. I've built other businesses. Most businesses are not profitable or balance sheet being positive day one. Alpha Futures was. That is very fortunate. We're happy for that. The great thing, though, we had for the early traders, kind of like you're talking about, just for their own nerves, I understand it, new firm, will they have the liquidity to pay me out?
Yeah.
We obviously had that backing from Alpha Cap. So that was great for me coming in as COO of a new company. If we were going to be negative the first few months, which happens to businesses, obviously, I did have the backing of Alpha Cap, but even better situation, we never needed it because Alpha Futures was healthy from day one. Now, going on 9 months in, like I said, the last 2 months, Q1 have been insane altogether. We're obviously in a very, very healthy place. But yeah, having that backing from the beginning made it a little bit less nerve-wracking on me and, of course, our traders, which is what we wanted. Like, you guys will be paid. You follow the rules, you will be paid. Now Alpha Futures is in such a healthy place. People obviously see that is very, very true and will continue to be true for an extremely long time as long as we have these doors open.
100%.
I mean, I've been doing a few interviews with some of your futures traders recently, and that really comes through. They've all said, well, we wanted to try it, but we're so fed up with the opposition. So there's a hurdle in the way all the time, which is what you always said from the start. You wanted to set it up that you knew all the nuances that were wrong.
Yep.
And that really has hit home with people. Now they're spreading the word, spreading the message.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand, too, like I've been a prop firm trader for 3 years now. Like, I understand there's rules that need to happen for firms for sustainability.
Yep.
Simply there. The thing that a lot of futures traders don't like, it's not every firm has that as public policy. And that was the thing I wanted right away. It was like, any rule we have is going to be public policy.
Yes.
Now, you as a trader might not like the rule. That's okay.
Sometimes you can see
right.
it.
Sometimes they need to be there for sustainabilities of on firms and whatnot. Sustainability on sim funds, like we know that's not the long-term play. Sim funds forever, not the play, and we've put our money where our mouth is with that. But yeah, a lot of those policies are hidden at other firms, and that's something that frustrated me as a consumer for years. So I was like, look, I now have a better understanding, be on the back end of a prop, why those rules exist. But I can't for the life of me understand why they wouldn't have it as public policy. And that's the thing I think we've done differently from a lot of companies is rules are public policy. It's okay if you don't like them. That's okay. I'm willing to conversate with the trader on that. But I have to be like, hey,
it's hard enough beating the market, isn't it? You don't have to beat an inner system.
Yeah.
It's kind of not
and
what you signed up for.
Especially right when you're like, I didn't see that fine print in the contract. It wasn't anywhere on your site. But from the company standpoint, they're like, it was in the contract. Yeah. So
I'm just having some like flashbacks now to some awful like experience
Yeah.
I've had with companies.
I blame Apple. When it turned into like a 200-page terms and agreements, isn't it? Who has ever read that? So you get into that mode of, well, whatever. I'll deal with it at the end.
Exactly.
All of our information is in the contract. There's no new information in the contract. That was important to me.
Exactly.
That was important to me.
The thing with prop trading is, it is honestly the greatest opportunity, not just for traders, but I believe to build wealth in this day and age. Like people talk about crypto and stuff. I think if you can trade prop, it offers you the most incredible opportunity to start from literally nothing.
It's the cheapest leverage you'll ever find.
This is it, right?
For sure.
So rules are kind of the cost of that, right? You just think, okay, we've got this amazing opportunity, but I just need to stick within the rules, right? So people complain about it way too much.
Again, going back to some of the interviews, what I found really refreshing is that it fits with my lifestyle, your lifestyle, having been traders for a long time. Some of these new kids are going, I'm so glad I got into trading. It's not necessarily money. It's changed my life. The discipline that it's put in there, that I'm having to do. And I'm thinking, light bulbs, these guys are going to do.
We hear that way more from futures traders.
Yeah.
I say it on every trader interview I do. They talk about how they've learned to become a better trader because of prop. Well, I feel like in the CFD space and stuff, they're like, get rid of these rules. Give me the 200K. And it's like, no. You're only getting access to that leverage if you follow the rules. And I have to give credit, like you said, to all of our traders at Alpha Futures. So many of them come into those interviews talking about, oh, the trailing drawdown or consistency rule made me a better trader. Now I'm super profitable. That's great to hear because that gets lost in the vision of prop firms.
Yeah.
Especially when we have our path to live and everything. We're trying to build profitable traders that we can then take to a live floor and we both make money.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we said?
That's the whole point, you know?
When we were at that conference in the summer, we said, didn't we? We did the little snapshot. It's where the big boys and girls play. And they've taken that on board. It's like,
It also shows that is literally our mission statement at Alpha Futures is to find the best and most profitable futures traders and then help them create a career long term. Yeah. That's why we're obviously Alpha Prime comes in, but Alpha Futures, the point of it is, yes, give people opportunities they wouldn't have elsewhere, but also it's a funnel to find talent that we can keep long term at Alpha Prime.
And the clientele that you guys seem to have attracted, from what I've seen, is just the top, really. Like
some really impressive payouts and everything. But also, I'm very grateful too. For the most part, of course, we have some people, like anything. If you run a business or restaurant, you're gonna get somebody that walks in the door that's not very kind to the staff. Yeah. For the most part, right, like 95% of customers are, you know what I mean, like pretty well educated, very polite to staff. And that's refreshing because you don't get that everywhere. But even Alpha, and I remember Alex when he was in the Discord all the time years ago when I first started with Alpha Cap, he talked about respect is a two-way street. Yeah. And I'm sure our employees at Alpha Futures would agree. It's like anytime somebody's disrespectful, I have their back. Now, it's their responsibility to be polite and everything to the customer. Once somebody's disrespectful, though, like, I've got your back. That's the whole point of me being a manager, being somebody's boss. If you mistreat one of our staff, we can refuse service, just like a restaurant or any other business when we want to.
I think we can measure that on the Discord. The ratio is probably 20-1 on the bans that go on an intraday basis.
So like we haven't had to deal too much with that in futures, which I am grateful for.
100%.
Which is just a much better environment for both sides, for staff and for traders.
And I think I was speaking to someone actually the other day who runs a different business. They're a butcher, actually. But we were talking about business in general, and I said there's really two approaches in a business. Is either cater to the lowest common denominator, try and undercut the market, go cheap, or offer a premium product. Mm-hmm. And Prime is a premium product, and I think it's perceived that way. And obviously, the clientele you're getting, they know what they're signing up for, right?
Even if you look at our rules and our pricing, we purposely position ourselves to be a premium product. Yeah. And at first, people might be like, "Why are these plans more expensive than another firm?" And the second I just tell them, "Here's how we do rules differently: more drawdown, bigger payout cap, better maximum loss limit," they're immediately like, "Oh, that price makes sense. Never mind. I'm getting more for my money." That was my intention from day one, too. When we talked about building a product, I wanted to pretty much just put twists on things I liked as a futures trader into a firm I wish I was trading sim firms.
Yeah, well, we were saying this, that like the fact that when you started it, coming as a trader, you basically were given this opportunity to say, just build the firm that you would have wanted to trade for. Yep. I mean, and that's what you've done.
Yeah, that's where we are now, which is fun, which is really fun. But it's great to see our success stories because I always say to them, I was like, I want you to have it better than I had it. Yeah. Which I joke, that's even what my dad said to me growing up, right? Like that's been his goal in life is like, I want my kids to have it better than I had it. And that's what in the Discord I always say. I was like, I want our traders here to have better than I had it elsewhere. And I think we've accomplished that. I think we definitely have.
I mean, I remember chatting again to you previously, and it's right at the storm when we're getting booed off on X for not paying and all this nonsense, absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
And you've got this ambition. He wants to pay people out on the same day. I'm going like, man, look at the industry. That is not happening. And we're now famous for that. The traders absolutely love it. That when you tell them, they go, no way. And then they get the payout. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, both of our $40,500 payouts. We've had 2 traders hit that on one day. They both were paid same day. One of them within 7 minutes of his request.
Wow.
I mean, to me, that's the best marketing you can have. If you want to dispel any of the negativity, it's there, guys. Look at check the account. You know?
Yeah, when you get $10,000 the same day, you probably do have a pretty good appreciation for that company, right?
You'd hope so.
Wow.
But yeah, that's huge. I do really appreciate everybody that does share their payout proof, because to me, it always meant more when it came from the trader that received the funds, not from the company that sent it out.
The thing in this industry, reputation, like if you're reputable, that is everything. And that basically comes from your clients, right? Like if they in this industry, especially with X and social media and stuff like that, news spreads either way, right? If you are a terrible firm that's doing awful things and stuff like that, people will call out for it. Equally, if you're a good firm, the reputation spreads. And that's why the cream has risen to the top. I mean, the prop space in the last sort of 5 years has been through this crazy transformation. But it seems like the ones that have made it out alive were the ones that were doing it properly. I know I said the expression earlier, but they say, when the tide goes out, see who's swimming naked, right? Like,
you've stolen one of the things I was going to use later.
Really? That's a plantyism right there.
Oh, shocking.
But it sort of shows, all the things that's gone on in the industry. Really, the ones that are left over, that are fighting, that have made their way to the top, are the ones that were doing it properly and not cutting corners and not doing anything shady. So it shows, playing it correct in the long run. That reputation, it puts you in really good stead. As far as the growth of the company goes, and I don't know if Planty has any sort of opinions on this as far as just the markets at the moment, the volatility. Do you think more people are trying to trade now, get involved in futures, and the way that the US stock market and everything's going at the moment, the volatility? Do you think that's played into more people just getting involved in it?
Well, the intraday swings work both ways, don't they? They're either annoying you, making you more and more frustrated, and killing your psychology, or it's opening people's eyes to, wow, look how much money I can make if you get it right.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to chat about that with you in a minute, about something else which is great for our reputation and shows Ben in his true light and how good Alpha Futures are at responding. But yeah, you're quite right. It should be an invitation to treat. It shows people that even in traumatic situations, there's an opportunity to make money. But you've got to control it, and you've got to have a plan, because you can get blown away. I've had periods this week where I've done all the work, I've got the right position, and within minutes, and I've got a few guys moaning to me on the chat, same thing's happening. You're getting reversed by a million miles, and literally, if you're not watching the screens, it can have changed. This is classic bear market.
A random tweets come out of somewhere, and
I was out yesterday. We're talking a period here, a week after Trump's tariffs, and every announcement is just reversing the market, and this is post him doing his 90-day pause. I mean, I was out for the evening, came back, and what the hell is going on here? It's like, I'd had a position in the morning where I just gave up on the markets because it was fine, the setup was great, there's hardly any news flow, and it was just flip-flopping, 1-2% within 5 minutes. It's just not good conditions, is it?
Yeah, it's wild.
So on that, and the point that I want to make is, we're now talking in the futures markets about something that a lot of people won't have come across, which is price limits.
Yes.
The guys have been all over that on the chat to make sure that you're safe. Yeah. It's something that you would never have thought you'd see. And for instance, yesterday you've got a reversal. It's down 3%. It's suddenly up 10%. You're on the verge of those limits both ways.
Yep. Which yesterday was a wake-up call for us, and I immediately made an adjustment based on our customer feedback. So overall, anybody that isn't familiar with it at home or anything, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME, they set price limits for overnight price from like Globex opens until New York session. 7% either direction is what they consider a circuit breaker on the indexes. So YM, ES, NQ, RTY. Those move 7% in the overnight session, they will pause trading. That's what we say when we say circuit breaker. But at any point in volatility, the CME can set an asset to basically, I like calling them like mini halts, but they set it to pre-open settings, which essentially is just trying to control volatility in that moment. So we did get some of that yesterday in the move up with the Trump, and we just actually got it last week too when Trump was making announcements about tariffs. We were nowhere close to a price limit of 7% either side, but they set it to pre-open settings for a few minutes there just because of volatility.
And you'll know when that's happening because you'll be on a phone call and you suddenly hear this. The market's in pre-open. And you go, what the hell? It's like
well, you'll see it on like Project
things
X.
change color, don't they? As well.
Project X, for example, Alpha Ticks provider, they'll have it right on there. It'll say like NQ set to pre-open, NQ open now, NQ set to pre-open, NQ open now. It's because the CME and data providers are just trying to control volatility there. Now, there's nothing we can do with sim orders in those moments. Like if your stop loss gets slipped by 100 points during those pre-open settings, that is from data providers, it's from the market makers. There's nothing we can do. So we did originally have the price limit policy, which is trading within 2% of a price limit, which we just talked about, that level being 7%. That means 5% either direction on the major indexes stop trading. Because I was just trying to basically protect traders and the firm from situations that were unpredictable.
And just one thing to say on that is because I've been around for a long time, those limits used to be 5%, and because of the volatility over the years and the price levels, they moved to 7. So if you're doing a search on Google looking for what on earth these things are, you might see a lot of old references to 5%. So we're putting in a 2% buffer now to help you.
Yes, to try to just basically avoid as many of those situations as possible. That's the intention of the rule when people ask about it and stuff. It's to make sure your sim orders don't get caught in a full-on circuit breaker at 7%. That's why you have to stop trading at 5. But outside of 5%, why we had it apply to all hours at first, those kind of mini halts and set to pre-open become more and more probable. So we originally approached it as like, this is the best way to avoid those situations in our eyes. Feedback yesterday was traders were like, well, take those unpredictable situations. I don't want to feel like I'm being limited, which the CME does, to be fair, the CME does take a similar approach that downside still has a circuit breaker in New York hours, upside doesn't. So we basically removed the upside, right, that 5% limit to the upside during New York sessions. I was like, fine, I hear your feedback. You guys want to go off with the CME sets. That seems fair to me. So I just, you know what I mean, edited the rule yesterday, made sure people knew.
But put that in context. If you're short into that rally, we got a 10% intraday, 12% on the NASDAQ. You know, you're short around 3 or 4% up, or you've got a limit to sell, and that goes into circuit breaker, and it opens up another 7%. You've got to be able to pay for that.
Your 50K sim evaluation just went from 50,000 balance to probably negative 13, and like you as a trader were probably like, this is clearly a glitch, like give me a refund. That's what I mean. I was just trying,
from the CME.
We were just trying to avoid.
We're trying to protect you, but you know, be cognizant that this is not a game. It's
So that's what I mean. Like I understand where traders come from. That's why we made the change. You know, I mean, I called George. I was like, hey, I think this is fair feedback. We should change it, and we changed it within the hour, which people are appreciative of. But yeah, it's going off of what the CME sets, and I think that's the most fair way to approach it. Like I said, we originally thought it was going to help avoid bad situations, which it proved yesterday on that move up. We got set to pre-open setting 3 or 4 times in a matter of minutes, and there were people reaching out to us in that being like, I don't know what happened to my order. And I said, well, you see right here on your platform where it said NQ now open, NQ set to pre-open, NQ now open. They're like, yeah. And I was like, it's because the CME is basically trying to control volatility, which can happen at any point. But again, typically, the further we get outside of 5%, just the more and more common that becomes. But traders' feedback was, I'll take that unpredictable situation to be able to hold my trade to a 10% gain during New York session, which I understand. And that's what we said, sure. Like, fair enough. We hear your feedback. We think it's fair feedback, and fine, we'll edit the rule. So it only applies to those price limits, only apply downside during New York session. That is from the CME, and then overnight hours, so London and Asian session. So, just trying to be fair.
Absolutely.
You know, taking trader feedback, but also, we need to protect the trader and the firm. That's obviously part of sustainability.
I remember reading the rules, and you see the emails that come around, and I think, you know, it's ages since I've seen that kind of thing happen. It's like there's one thing.
Trump market back.
A couple of years ago, then there was COVID, and you had the European thing in the mid-teens, and it's 2008-9 before I really remembered. The market's forever hitting price limits, and it was always automated programs knocking it down, buying it back up. And I'm thinking, brilliant, know about that, but you'll not be using it. And here we are, a month later, and it's
hits it twice in the same day.
Yeah, which that's what it was. August of this year was the last time we got really close. We had about a 5% gap down during Asian session, so that was when we were like, hey, like here's CME guys, here's how price limits work, here's your warning. And obviously we're only a month into operations at that point too, so it was like somewhat new for us for dealing with it. At that time, but that was the last one we saw, and before that was COVID. So it went like 4 years without any coming close to really price limits, CME price limits.
Yeah.
And now that Trump's back in office, I mean, we saw 5 out of the last 6 days. We
Yeah,
got
I mean, it's
pretty
mad
close
because,
to those levels.
originally you're trying to teach people it's based on the last 5 minutes of trading and the previous night, the close, and it's, the 5-7% from there. But now we're getting intraday breakers, and then it's resetting, and you're going again. It's
So good thing is CME does still keep their reference point consistent, which is just surprising to me, though. They use around 4 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
I was very surprised the day I learned they don't use the 5 p.m. Eastern close when, like, you know what I mean, then we
in
the
the extra
hour
period.
rollover.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was interesting. The reference price is based right around
the last 5 minutes, isn't it, of trading? I think.
Yeah, it's like
Up to that
I think
point,
it's
up to 4
technically they
p.m.,
say like around 4:15 p.m. is when they set their reference price for the next day. So I thought that was a little interesting. Then it was like, well, why does the CME trade till 5 and then use a 4:15 reference price? But they do have the reference price listed on their site.
It's maximum
day.
volume, isn't it? But it's like those end-of-day auction trades. It's relevant to where the real
I guess
trade
so.
is, I suppose.
But yeah, that reference price is listed on the CME site every single
And you
day.
posted it on the Discord as well. Like, it's not a secret.
No,
So-
and that's it's been in public policy since we launched. Like I said, August was the first run-in we had with it, and I was like, hey guys, this rule exists. Here it is. Here's where you can find it on the site. And then when 5 out of the last 6 days, we kept getting close, we'd repost the levels, repost the rule.
Yeah, I saw all the notifications coming
Yep.
up. I was
I
like,
mean, it was every single day. So at some point, I kind of have to be like, guys, here's the rule again. Like, you have to have some ownership of your own trading and learning what the CME is, what the market is. That's your responsibility as a trader. But we want to help as much as we can. So obviously, we do post the levels whenever it does look like we're going to get close in those overnight hours.
I mean, I feel like we should have an affiliate for the CME website. We talk about it all the time. It is such a useful website. Guys, if you're trading futures, you've got to use it.
It reads so odd, though. Like, it does. It's such an odd website.
Yeah.
Like, now that I've been using it for a couple of years, it's second nature to me.
I know.
I remember the first week when I opened it, though, I was like, what is this? Because even the reference price for, like, NQ, for example, it looks like 3 extra digits.
Yeah,
but, like,
totally
the decimal place is actually, like, a couple hundredths places over. So, like, that's confusing to a newcomer. Absolutely.
Well,
that's also the point we're trying to help with, too, is, like, the CME website says all this, guys. We're trying to say it in a more simple
trying to
manner.
get you to the right. Because if you go through the, like you say, 20 sub menus to get to the, you'd think it'd be the front and central.
Yeah.
You get a generic page which lists everything.
Yeah.
And then you've got a search box, and if you put the contract in, ideal.
Yeah, it comes right up.
But if you put in, like, let's say the Nasdaq, we're trading on the M contract.
It would pull up. It would pull up next year's contract.
But it does it in an alphabetical order. So if you put Nasdaq 100 in, the first one is H6, which is March next year.
Right.
So if you're suddenly going, I found it, and just reference off that, it's like 500 points higher. You're going to ruin yourself.
Yeah. The most simple way to approach it, honest, for anybody that's still like, this is so confusing, your daily quote on your broker is going to be based off the CME reference price anyways. Yep. So if you are in New York hours, Asian hours, London hours, if we hit minus 5% on any of the major indexes, stop trading.
You're going to be
That's
close.
it. That's it. Now, upside during New York is uncapped. That's it. So New York session, if we hit 5% or more, you may keep trading. That's the adjustment I made yesterday. That
Which
is only during
good
New
of
York
you
hours,
guys.
though.
That's the thing. Like that, even just telling people what the quotes are.
Right.
These are little things that a lesser company would just take advantage of.
Yeah,
They'll be like, well, it's on the CME website. If people don't know how to find it, that's their problem.
They've got a bucket here. They're going, yep.
You know, but the fact that you posted, I mean, I said, I've seen all notifications. You've been posting the quotes all these times saying these are the limits. And I mean, to have that level of transparency and being reasonable to let the upside go. I mean, that's...
Again, we're trying to keep these guys in the game.
Yes, that's the big thing. We'll get to in a minute here. We'll be prime. Like, that's truly where I feel like we differ is like we are trying to find talent that we can keep around forever because we want them to come trade on Prime forever. We give you a monthly check to keep you around to incentivize you to come trade with us. But then, we do keep more of a split on our live traders' profit.
So, Ben, sorry to interrupt. What you said, so if you're on a live basis with another firm and you blow your live account, you're generally pushed away from that firm?
Some, not all, but some, they'll say, you're done here. Like, you can't trade with us at all anymore, which we tried to take a more fair approach, right? It is with the live contract, the intended lifespan of the live contract is 12 months. That's what your monthly salary is going to be broken up into is 12 months. Yeah. So let's say you survive on live for 11 months with us, it would only be 1 month before you can go back to sim. Now, if you survive with us a whole year, you'll probably be talking with the prime directors about staying with us permanently in a full-time salary and everything. Like that's what we want. That's best case
and that's
scenario.
Something Jimmy put across in the recent video, isn't it? We want to work with you. It's not necessarily a hard and fast line. If you blow up, we're trying to develop you.
Yeah.
It's,
and that's more right. That's James's. My responsibility is to run Alpha Futures and make sure I identify the talent that I think should be working with James because James has way more true tested trading experience than I have.
Yeah.
I've done well with prop firms. I've never worked for a traditional fund though. Now Alpha Prime has given me the opportunity to do that. That's so exciting to me.
Yeah.
That's James's role though, to be able to work with traders
Yeah.
on the prime side of
Nurture
things.
that talent.
Yeah. I'm here to just make sure you have a good experience with Alpha Futures and, you know what I mean, take your feedback, make adjustments like we did yesterday, but then truly show you we're trying to find talent.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to find talent to get to prime. That is the entire mission statement. We told you it was before prime launched. It was like, we are trying to find profitable traders. Now you guys can all see it. We've had it in the works for years now. You know, I've only been with the company full time for a year now, but George and Alex, that was part of my offer.
Yeah.
We're coming on board was like, this is what we have planned. They've been working on it for years, and it's just really nice that it's public information now.
It's so important though. Like, I think prop firms, the sort of the PR for prop firms, or the people's perception of it a couple of years ago, obviously not naming names, but a few firms that stuff came out and things blew up. And it went from this perception at first of, oh, well, here's an opportunity to work for these firms. Then suddenly it was, these guys are just trying to go against us. They all want us to fail. They're, you know, to actually now have you guys bring it around and be, look, guys, we are actually on your side now. Like, this is going to be a mutually beneficial relationship. There is a way that we can both profit if you're successful and we're successful. No one else is doing that. And it's just...
I've had so many people coming into me going, God, this is what I've been dreaming of, and what do I do? How do I do it? I'm working slowly. I'm grinding. You know,
it's the dream that was all sold to every single prop trader 3 years ago. You know, it really is.
Yeah.
And there's even some good firms out there, like I've traded with on the future side, that like they've treated me well as a trader and customer. I'm never more than a customer though.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm never trading
actually a
for
liability
their
in
firm.
a sense.
Yes, exactly. I'm a customer and I'm a liability to them, and they've treated me fine. They've paid me out.
Yeah.
So like, that's cool and all. Did not develop any sort of career jump or anything like that, and that's exactly what we're doing at Prime. I mean, I just got to see the office yesterday. We have 2 young new graduates in there. They're both like 22. Shout out Sam and Freddie if they're watching this.
Looking forward to meeting you guys.
Like, this is their first big boy job in London on a trading floor. Like, they are getting to start their career.
Living the dream, man. They're living the dream.
Right. That's what I mean. I feel like a lot of prop traders were sold the dream. Alpha is the only group I've seen actually put their money where their mouth is. Yeah. Big reason why I wanted to work with them. Obviously, big reason why I've stuck around for a year, and I plan on sticking around as long as they'll have me.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
Not
like,
a past tense there, Ben.
No, like, I plan on sticking around as long as they'll have me because, again, they're the guys that keep putting their money where their mouth is.
It's funny. A lot of the times when you work for a company, the more you see, the more the things start to unravel, right? And you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought. The more time I spend with Alpha, the more I'm just like, no, these guys are legit. Like, they're the only ones doing it properly. The growth that Alpha Futures has had, I mean, come back to us in a year, man. I mean, it's going to be parabolic. Because when I first started trading and trading prop and stuff, there was all these random firms, and people think, oh, so how do you pick which ones you want? I just wanted the best ones, guys. Yeah. I just wanted the best firms. I'm just like, who isn't trying to screw me over? Who has got a reputation? Who's actually going to pay me out? That's it. Like, I don't need to have any weird gimmicks or anything like that. I just want to trade for the best firms. Yeah,
and so we're not caught up in all that slanging match. We just do it. Put it on the tapes, develop, and help the guys.
So you've done it, Ben. You just thought, let's just make the best firm. And here we are. And speaking of your new traders, you said that one of them has already got paid out. Like, they've started working on Alpha Prime and they already got paid out.
Yes. So the 2 guys I mentioned, those are kind of traditional hires, right? Like I said, this is their first big boy career, but we do have 4 traders already that have come over from Alpha Futures and are now, are now live Prime traders, right? Like, they've gone through the funnel. And I'm sure
they're working from home at the moment.
Yep, they're from home. Yeah. So, I know a lot of people saw like the trading floor in London. They're like, do I have to move to London? No, like, the door's open for top performers. It truly is. Like, if you
can probably end up dipping in and out of that. And that'd be healthy.
Well, I'll be up there one day, guys.
That will be.
Don't worry about that.
That will be healthy though.
I'm gonna be there.
Whole trading in a group is so much better for you.
Definitely. I mean, I know I'll be going on we'll do weekly calls with James. We'll go over market outlook and like stuff to watch out for. I'll be on every one of those because I still don't trade as much as I used to, but I still trade 2-3 days a week now. Yeah. I have so much to learn from James. I'm taking advantage of those calls too, you know? Just because then I'm talking to other proven profitable traders. Only good things can come from that.
100%.
You know? So that's a big part of it. But the 4 people we have transferred over. So I talked about the monthly checks a good amount. So He's asked to remain anonymous, only his initials, but LH was our very first live trader. He's already trading on his live account. He made profit yesterday on the live account. Now, the other thing here is, whole reason we brought James in. James has scaled traders to make multi-million-dollar traders over the years. He's been in different, I think, 4 different trading floors, if I'm not mistaken, over the last 30 years.
Wow.
Has built multi-million-dollar traders that have started on smaller accounts and smaller splits that we're starting people at today.
Yeah.
That's why James was such a great hire for Alpha Prime. He's done it for 30 years. Again, these are all things that if I could work with somebody as a consumer that I was 2 years ago, it would be somebody like James. That's why he was the perfect hire. Is the idea here, guys, is like, you're not going to stay on a 10K account forever. Show us you can grow it the same way you grew your sim funds. There's more coming to you.
And this is proper scalability. It's not like you see hidden in the prop side of things where you can get this 10% scale up that takes forever and isn't a realistic marketing gimmick. This is proper scaling.
Yeah, it's like they usually do what you grow the account by like 30%, you get another 10%, right? No, it'll be James has been doing it longer than I've been alive. Like we need to trust him and his experience. You know what I mean? Like he's been there, done it. He's scaled traders up to the millions. And that's what we want long-term from Prime. I'm not promising anybody that within the next 6 months now, right?
It will happen at some point, man.
That's what we want. That's why we hired somebody like James. He's done it at 4 different trading floors over the last 30 years. So that's what we want for these people.
I just can't wipe the smile off my face.
Yeah, exactly. No, you've hit the jackpot.
No, because this is it's the dream.
Yeah.
And it's possible, finally. Like, the opportunity that can be happening just for having a skill, man. Like, for nurturing a skill set, discipline, you can achieve the dream. Like, the upside is potentially uncapped, and I think the environment as well, man, to like work with these pros and profitable traders. And I do find, even in my life, all of my success, well, I attribute it all to hard work, but I think surrounding yourself with the right people, man. So even just having that environment, even virtually, like having the virtual calls and the mentoring, I mean, just setting everyone up for success.
My mission statement with Alpha Futures was, first of all, just create a firm like we talked about that I wish I was trading at as a consumer. That was step number 1. Step number 2, though, of course, is opening doors for people that wouldn't be opened otherwise.
Yeah.
That's the big thing here, too. Obviously, be a profitable trader at Alpha Futures. You don't need a degree. We don't care where you're from. We care about your trading history. That's it. Yeah. And, don't be a complete dick to staff and stuff, right? But I don't care who you are, where you come from. If you prove to us you can trade profitably, you're gonna have a chance to come trade at Alpha Prime trading floor. And that's not true at any other trading floor out there because, understandably too, because they want highly educated individuals. They want to know the personalities they're dealing with when they hire. So that's why they only hire from certain schools with certain degrees over and over again. Yeah. That shuts doors to 99% of people. Yeah. So while yes, trading profitably is not easy, and more than 90% of people won't get there. Yeah. The people that do things the right way, we're still opening doors for you that wouldn't have been there otherwise. So that's what I mean. I feel like we've come full circle on both of the mission statements. When I was originally hired a year ago, my 2 statements were okay, I want to build a firm that, again, gives opportunities just product-wise that aren't elsewhere. Then what I need from you guys as ownership, show me how we're going to open doors for these traders that wouldn't be opened elsewhere. And they've done exactly that. So, I mean, like I said, George and Alex have been working on it, and Drew have been working on it for years. Yeah. But it's just awesome to see for me. Like I said, I know Planty was like, what do you mean it was a year? The first year has been amazing to see them making sure they circle back on everything that was promised to me just as an employee a year ago. And that's why I'll stick around as long as they'll let me. As long as they'll let me, I'll be here.
You're in big trouble now.
Yeah.
And it's a sustainable business model. This is the other thing we were talking about, is that for someone to say, I want to trade with Alpha Futures, because there are other firms out there that you can trade for and you might get a payout. But deep down, they still, I don't say they have your best interests at heart, but deep down, you're still just a customer, right? But like you said, for you guys, it's the next level, right? It's just the next level. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's making them part of our revenue. That's the other thing that so many of these other futures firms, while it's a good thing they have a path to live, yes, of course, that's a huge difference in the CFD space and why futures has kind of emerged as more legit. Yeah. First, I think it's a better asset no matter what. I firmly believe that it is a better asset.
Get some Eurex on there.
Yes, I am. I keep working on that. We can talk about that too. But it is a better asset to trade in general. That I 100% believe. I don't think that's just opinion. I think that's an objective fact. I think it's a better asset.
All right. So I think we've had a good chat. We'll have to wrap it up, but I'm really excited, guys. I know we can tell that, but I think, yeah, I mean, as soon as I announced Alpha Prime, I was just like, this is absolutely changing the game.
Yeah.
It is changing the game. And it's doing what everyone else claimed they were going to do. So, Ben, thank you for doing what everyone else claimed they were going to do. And just making the best firm, guys. If you're going to start a prop firm, why not just make the best one? Simple, right? Anyway.
I love this guy.
All right, wrap it up there. We'll sign it off. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next time. And like, subscribe, join the Discord, and join the winning team, right? Because if you're going to trade for a prop firm, why not pick the best one? Simple.